Portland since you're in Portland right now?
Portland rules. It's like the scene right now is at this beautiful point where people are, I feel that people are free to do whatever the hell they want, and people are really doing that. Like, if you're into a restaurant, you're doing the coolest restaurant ever, and if you're in a band, rents aren't so high, and da-da-da-da-da, and you can do shows. I went to a show last night for $5 and saw 5 bands, and that's a sign of a really healthy music scene.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
for sure.
But
I mean, you're a San Francisco guy, so Portland's your.
Yeah.
We've been trying for a long time, So.
No, I think that the scene is at a beautiful point right now. There's a lot of art. I think there's more art per capita here than like any other city right now. So, and that's why I'm here. I feel like I want to participate in this vibrant scene. It's really
well, we're really happy you're here, of course.
Yeah.
So you're at the People's Art of Portland Gallery, which is kind of a rad title.
Totally. No, I love it for the name alone.
And I think that fits you really well too to be here because I mean you're a working man's artist.
Yeah.
You're a man that prints and does all his own stuff.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself an artist of the people?
It's funny. My girlfriend often, this is like pillow talk, but she calls me a man of the people all the time. She goes, "Well, you're a man of the people," and I don't really think about it, but I feel like my job is to keep my ear to the ground, stay in touch with people, communicate, and take information in. And then when I'm making art, I'm hopefully expressing ideas that the regular people that I hang out with feel. And I feel like I can take unexpressed ideas and express them in art. And maybe make something that helps people move from point A to point B. For instance, when I did a poster for the Occupy movement, I wasn't directed by anyone, and there were no leaders, obviously, in the Occupy movement. It was a collective movement, and I just, out of my own initiative, felt that when they wanted to close the Port of Oakland, that was really historic. It hadn't happened since 1934 in San Francisco when they had the general strike. And so they needed a strike poster. And they needed it to say, this is our city and we can close it down. And we can shut it down. And so I made thousands of those posters, stood on the corner and just passed it out to people. And I made it 2 sides, I was thinking, because I thought, well, if you see it from the back, you get the message. If you see it from the front, you get the message. And a sea of those posters just went down to the port, and I couldn't even believe it. We closed the port. It was 7,000 to 10,000 people mobbing the port, and it just was like shut down. And so I think I get as much satisfaction and energy out of participating in history like that as maybe people who look at the poster feel like I'm giving to that movement. I think there's a definite win-win, Psyche in particular is often a figure used by artists. It's a Greek story to express kind of erotic sentiments and ideas. And in this case, I think here's a woman who's really got this look in her eye that's saying, like, I'm looking at you. And she's sort of, her pose is like she's holding her arm across her body, like this is mine. And yet she's also offering a sort of a very erotic kind of pose. And so there's a tension there. And I always like those sort of tensions in my work. And it's nice to, to sort of touch back on traditional themes like that and bring them into the future because, involved in that there's like all these kind of graffiti textures and bright psychedelic colors that are like inspired by the psychedelic movement of the 60s. So I think what I'm doing is trying to take these old ideas and reinvent them for people today.
So we were talking about, we have, in the gallery there's a lot of women. So,
Yeah.
As we were talking before, like, what's the inspiration for the women in your work?
Well, like the female form is like beautiful, and I'm an appreciator, and I feel like
As we sit in the Playboy Mansion here.
right,
That's
exactly.
what we're talking about. As we're on the set of a porn.
It's sort of like a
Exactly how
champagne
that works.
room in here. So, but I like figurative art. It's like it's putting a human being in the center of the picture, and then expressing ideas through like your relationship to that person in the picture. And I just feel like that is like the basic sort of thing about art. It's like a person looking at a piece of art, and the piece of art is looking back at the person. And so that's, to me, why I use like the female figure.
Perfect. We were talking about, like, you've done so much. You've been a printer. You're a master printer. You're a master artist. Like, as you push boundaries through all your work, like, what is a major project that you're looking towards, or what's your next boundary that you would push?
It's funny because you're asking that, and I'm coming from rock posters, and rock posters is something I always want to do. It's like I'm really connected to music. It's a medium that I really enjoy working in. I understand the tradition. I want to move it forward. And then I started working in some other sort of forms. It's like there's no words, there's form and color and composition and all the things that make, for a piece of art. And recently started playing with size, and that really necessitated me to work with different, substrates like wood or metal or, things like that. And this summer, last summer or this summer, I did an installation in an Italian chapel, and so it wasn't just like one piece of work or another piece of work. It was like the whole ensemble together with music and then the lighting. And I sort of feel like that was just kind of the beginning, It's like I really I feel like I'm just opening that door, and that there's like more work to come, really. So I don't feel like I'm at any boundary. I actually feel like I'm at the starting line. It was kind of how I see it,
Like, from the punk rock days, you've come along, you've
Oh.
got a full deal, man. Like, from
Yeah, but the thing about it is I don't feel like I'm really in a different place. I'm like, I'm pretty solidly with the people, and I really enjoy going to shows. I'm like a 50-year-old cat, but I still like to see rock and roll. I still like to demonstrate. I like to go to, like hot rod shows. I like, it's like really not a lot has changed and like I don't feel removed from life in any sort of way. And I just feel like the only thing that's different is that maybe my art is reaching a broader audience, and so that's I sort of bring kind of what we like to more people,
Right.
And that's kind of you know, but I haven't lost what, you know, we like.
But your art's almost hit to it's like a worldview because you've expanded from outside of just the United States.
Right, but you'd be surprised how similar Portland is with like the cool punk rockers and friggin', rock.
Right. But you said like
Buenos Aires.
Like we were talking the other day about like a world village kind of thing, right? Like you're like the same problem.
Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, like in the people. Okay, back in the day when I was working on World War III Illustrated, we would contact an artist. It'd be like Seth de Bachman and Peter Cooper and Eric Brooker and I and some others would contact like an artist who maybe wasn't doing political art and say, dude, love your stuff. I think you could say something really political if you wanted to in the context of World War III Illustrated magazine. And they go, well, I wouldn't even know where to begin. And I always said, and Seth or Peter would say, look, just do something about you and your walk from your apartment to your grocery store, or taking the bus, or trying to get a job, or any of these like really local sort of issues that you have, and you'll be surprised. Our readers that are in Australia, and our readers in Europe and South America and wherever are gonna relate to your issues, relate to your problems, because things are really similar all over the world. Your problems are really similar to other people's problems, and if you're thinking it, they can find themselves in your issues, and so really kind of, it's like the local is the global, and act locally, think globally, but that is like, do work about the particular, and it really can be generalized to the global,
Right. And so how did you guys meet? How, like, you put out a book, and
yeah, we met with a mutual friend. So I was like admiring his work. So I invited him to Argentina. We wanted to make a book, about all his art, and then we invited him to present the book on a tour. So we make a really cool tour in Argentina and presenting the book. So that's really how we met, and now I'm coming back here.
to the mall in Portland, Oregon.
I really have to thank Chuck, Jason, and Chris, and Adi, and everyone, and Roger, and everyone here for making my stay possible and so amazing.
Sure. And talk about your art too. Like you're an artist. You're a printmaker. Like
Yeah.
you're making posters, and you're with Chuck Sperry, which is pretty rad.
Yeah, I'm also like I'm also making silk screen like Chuck, and usually in my work I tend to call for a simpler life, than what we get. Like going back again to craft and people working as craftsmen and not working on the office, because the economy systems tend us to put us in virtual lives on the office and just on the computer. And I like to live myself a simpler life. That's why I choose a craft like silk screen, and I love craftsmen like the axemen, the fishermen, the sailors, the butchers. So that's kind of the things that I try to investigate and call.
The Badgers. Sorry, you said the Badgers?
The butcher, the
butcher.
Oh yeah,
butcher.
I think it's a Badger.
No, not the butcher.
Badgers?
In Argentina, butchers are really important in Argentina.
I thought you said Badger.
The barbecue and the Argentinian beef, so the butcher is very important.
Yeah,
totally.
sorry, my it's not so good.
No, that was perfect. I just wanted to hear Badger, I think.
Is it because you're in the Champagne?
It is. I mean, is there anything really you want to say about anything?
God, thank you to the People's Art of Portland and Jason for the invitation and the hard work. forget Roger, he's been rocking it out.
Oh,
this last
Roger,
week, too.
you're really hard to see because you're behind that light.
But thank you, man. So y'all kicked ass, and we did it, and it was a hell of a success, and we were packed out all night, and super nice people, and
It's easy when the art's so rad.
Yeah. That's great, man. You're really great.
yeah, just thanks.
Yeah.